Girl, what you're saying is not matching with how you're delivering it. Because even I would think you're trying to come across as really aggressive if you're talking to me with all of this, you know, like knack action. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Jada here, back with another video, and today we are going to be talking about the Real Housewives of Atlanta. They actually just started putting out episodes for their newest season, season 15. There are now 2 whole episodes to discuss, okay? So I felt the need to make a video because it looks pretty interesting so far. However, I would say that it does seem to be some manufactured drama here and there, but I'm going to talk about it. So let's start with the cast of this particular season first, okay? Obviously, over the years, we have seen a lot of our original members leave, new members come in, and then also they would leave as well. So let's talk about who is actually here. So season 15, we have Kandi, Kenya, Sheree, Drew, Marlo, Sonia, and then we have 2 new people, Monyetta and Courtney. So let's dive right into it. So in episode 1, we see that Sheree is actually dating a whole new man. In the end of season 14, I do believe she did mention during the reunion at some point that she was seeing someone else and not her prison bae, as one of the ladies had, I think, called him. But you remember how she got stood up, basically? He was supposed to meet up with her, but he was on like probation or something. Yeah, it was a hot mess. So we're happy that she elevated her standards to not be dating anyone from prison anymore, and now it looks as though she moved on to a new dude, but I can't remember his name. I'm just going to be honest with you. I just know he's a black guy. So Sonia comes over to meet up with Sheree, and that's when Courtney comes in. She knew Sheree already, and now she's just introducing Courtney to Sonia. Courtney, right out the gate, she comes out with it, and she's just like, I got beef, or some issues, really. Not really beef necessarily, but just some problems with Kandi, it seems, already. And it's just like, it's episode 1, how do you have issues with someone already? Seems like you're forcing it just a little, you know? But anyways, she talks about how Kandi, I guess, was saying that they were friends at one point or something like that, and that Kandi knew her. It was really weird. I might have that backwards, but like I said, it just seems like manufactured drama already, and it's only the beginning. First couple minutes of episode 1, it's just like, wait, this doesn't really make much sense, but okay. Speaking of Kandi, right? She, of course, for a long time, she's been struggling to try and figure out how to balance everything that she's been doing, juggling. Obviously, she's a mom, she's an entrepreneur. She has several businesses by herself and also with her husband. You know, it's like she does a lot of things. The fact that she's still on this show is still crazy to me, because it's just like, girl, how? You're like the busiest person on this show. So we find out that Todd is making a movie, and it does look as though it's taking his time away even more from his family, and it does look as though it's causing a little bit of a strain, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later on, more than likely in future episodes. But it does seem as though it's a little problematic. So Kandi, amongst all the other 1,001 things that she's juggling and doing, she also makes these spoof videos where she's kind of making fun of the ladies on the cast and also other individuals outside of the show. So she's just having fun, you know, she's making fun here and there, making some jokes. But of course, you know, Sheree and Marlo, they not liking that too much, okay? They really not. Kenya comes over to meet up with Kandi, and she shares that Sheree's man currently had actually messaged her before, and that ends up being a whole other thing. But the thing is, because she didn't actually respond to him or touch the message, it looks as though it was deleted, because as soon as she accepted it, there was nothing there. So you could see that he obviously messaged her, but there was nothing there. So it could have been that he messaged her, she didn't really care for it, like cared to message back, and he just deleted it after. I don't really know if that qualifies as evidence, you know, but it seems as though this was before him and Sheree had started dating. So I don't really see what the need was to bring it up because they didn't actually talk to each other. So it was just weird. Kenya, I think, is just being Kenya. I think she, again, just likes to stir up drama where it doesn't really need to be, but she kind of makes it seem as though she's being a good friend by going ahead and telling Sheree, but we'll talk about that later. So Marlo, she got her nephews back, now living in her house again. She still hasn't really had communication with her sister, but she did decide to hire someone to teach her a new style of parenting and how to really deal with, you know, being kind of like a parent slash auntie, you know what I mean? Because that's really a lot to take on, especially when you're not used to raising children. That could really be a lot. Just being a parent in general, but then just becoming a parent to 2 kids that you didn't have yourself, it definitely could be a lot to adapt to. We move on to Sonia. She's actually throwing a 20s inspired birthday party for her husband Ross's 40th birthday. And she of course decides to invite everyone, and that's kind of when the drama ensues. So let's talk about that, shall we? So we open up, everyone's getting to the party, everyone looks great as per usual. Honestly, I think on this show, people just eat, okay? Like the fashion, everything. Obviously there's a couple of outfits here and there where I'm just like, girl, what were you thinking? But for the most part, A1. A1. So everybody's looking good, everyone's looking snatched, all right? You can't go wrong with a 20s party. There's a lot of feathers, okay? And eventually I think there's a lot of feathers flying because there's some arguments here and there, okay? So let's talk about the arguments. The first issue of the night. It didn't escalate into actual physical touch, you know, anything, but it did get pretty heated. So Courtney comes in and she goes over to talk to Candy about what's been going on, what's been being said. Again, I still don't even know what the heck she's talking about. It's not really making sense to me. Candy's saying that she doesn't know her. She told other people that she didn't know her. She did not know who Courtney was. And for some strange reason, it looks as though Courtney, you know, she's already coming over with attitude. And she's just doing all of this while talking to Candy and expecting Candy to kind of respond to her in a really civil and peaceful manner. And it's just like, girl, what you're saying is not matching with how you're delivering it. Because even I would think you're trying to come across as really aggressive if you're talking to me with all of this, you know, like knack action. Obviously Candy's getting a little riled up because it's like, what is your actual problem with me? You know what I mean? I watched the entire episode twice and I still can't tell you what the heck the argument was actually even about. It escalated so quickly, obviously just because, like I said, the knack action. But it was like, I can't even tell you what Courtney was even trying to say was the problem. I don't know. I still don't understand. It was weird. But either way, Candy, like I said, she's getting kind of riled up because obviously she has, you know, Courtney has a little bit of attitude with her. And she's just like, I'm a headbutt this bee, basically. That's what I remember her saying. But Todd, he's just like, okay, what is going on? Y'all need to break this up because this don't look good. You are Ross's 40th birthday. We can't have this mess at his birthday. So that disperses, thankfully. Andy catches herself. She cools down in another area. Courtney goes to another area. We're good for now, right? But then another problem ensues because Kenya decides to make her way over to Sheree and tell her about the messaging, okay? The messaging from her new man. And she was like, yeah, I would want you to come to me and be honest. If you got a message from someone I was seeing or you got hollered at, I would like you to tell me, right? And I was like, girl, no you wouldn't. No you wouldn't. Let's be real. Like, if it was before you and I never actually messaged back, why would I care? Think about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, why do I care? Really? If nothing happened between the two of y'all, y'all never even talked to each other, why would I give a crap about him messaging you? Okay, let's move on. So basically she tells Sheree all of this, right? Sheree is asking her, well, how long ago was this? And Kenya is just like, oh, at least 6 months ago. Yeah, right. So she basically says, this was before you, you know, this has nothing to do with your relationship with him. This was before you. And then Sheree calls her man over and you know, it kind of escalates from there, but I think they end up moving the conversation to a totally different room. And Sheree's man looks at Kenya and it's just like, what are you talking about? Like, you talk about this message from 2 years ago? 2 years ago? Literally, it timestamped 2 whole years. 2020. They filmed this season last year, 2022, I think. Way more than 6 months, like Kenya said. And on top of that, according to Sheree, they had already talked about him messaging her. They had already went through that. So she knew about that already. So that's why Sheree was like, how long ago was this? It made it seem like he had just recently messaged her again and that she didn't know about this message. You know what I mean? So it was weird. So that escalates even further. And, you know, obviously the guy that Sheree's seeing, he's getting a little bit irritated with the whole situation because it just seems as though that Kenya, again, is just trying to start some ish between obviously him and Sheree. He's just talking to her, even though you could tell he's a little irritated based on some of the things that he was saying and little remarks here and there, kind of snarky. You know, he did say something about her messaging everybody back that was in her DMs, whatever. But the thing is, what gets me is that he was just talking to her. You can clearly see in that moment, he was just talking to her. It didn't really escalate until Kenya was like, you're being aggressive. Why are you so aggressive? It was a really like kind of calm situation for the most part. And I was like, girl, what are you talking about? And it definitely reminds me of what happened in the last season with Sonya's husband, Ross, when everybody was kind of dogpiling on her because they was like, she didn't invite us to the events and all that type of dumb crap. And all Ross was saying was, y'all need to back up off my wife. Right? Because this was supposed to be their time. They're supposed to be having a good time and you're ruining it. And Ross was just trying to tell her like, hey, you need to cool it with your comments. And I'm like, shoot, I would hope my husband did the same. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I wouldn't want him to get into every single argument and discussion that I'm having with my girlfriends. But if he realizes that I'm getting dogpiled on and all the husbands are there, even if Kenya don't have a man, like who cares? You knew you didn't have a man and you decided to come to a couple's retreat or trip. So that's on you. But the thing is, how do you be the only person, along with Sheree, who also I think came singly, she didn't have a man either with her at the time. How do you, Kenya, be the only one feel as though he's being aggressive? That's very interesting. And then again, you have this situation in this season currently where you're like, he's being aggressive. And it's just like, girl, what? It's really weird. Of course, her and Sheree in the second episode, they had a whole discussion about that. And again, Kenya still wasn't taking accountability, but what's new? She never has. Throughout the entire time she's been on RHOA, she is not taking accountability for a lot of things that she said or done. She just pretends like it never happened. So yeah, that's just kind of how Kenya rolls. But the thing is, people, you know, continue to be friends with her. And it's just kind of like, girl, why? Kenya, don't get me wrong, she's entertaining, but in some ways, she's not a good friend, okay? In a lot of ways. I would honestly keep her at an arm's length. She's cool to be around, fun person, entertaining, but outside of that, it's like, I don't know if I could trust you. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah. We also find out that Kenya's dating this white guy that I think Moneta had actually introduced her to. Or maybe it was another friend. No, I think it was Moneta. But either way, she's dating this new guy. And I don't even know if her divorce is finalized with, is it Mark Daly? Is that his name? Mark? Anyways, I don't know if her divorce is finalized yet. But either way, she's dating a new man. Who else do I need to update? Oh, and then also I forgot to mention, Drew didn't get to show up to the party for Ross. She wasn't there, but her husband was. I was trying to figure out, I was like, wait a minute. How are you gonna just show up without your wife? And we find out that Drew had actually left, I think, the state or the city, I don't know, but she, you know, had to travel to go see her dad, who wasn't really doing so well. He was in the hospital, it seems. I find it kind of strange that she's doing all of this by herself and you aren't next to her. You aren't there with her. It's weird. So Ralph is the name of her husband. I keep forgetting his name. But anyway, so Ralph, he shows up, he's having a good time. But again, I just find it weird that you have your wife going through some family issues. It's like, did you forget that that's also now your family? Like, even Kenya pointed that out. She was like, I think Ralph forgot that he's now a part of that family too. That was a thing. In episode 2, Drew comes back and it seems as though they're in a good place compared to the following season and the season before that. It seemed like her and Ralph was having a lot of problems. Obviously because Ralph is kind of a liar, if we're going to be honest. He does not tell the whole truth about things. It's kind of irritating. And then he gaslights the hell out of Drew and makes it seem like she don't know what she's talking about. And it's like, huh? Like, what? But it seems as though they're in a good place. Drew is still trying to pursue music. For what reason, I don't know, because I'm just gonna be honest. How old is she? Isn't she almost 40? Like, obviously dreams do come true, but let's be honest, the likelihood of you almost 40 being able to capitalize on your music and Drew, honey, you might as well just go back to acting. It's not gonna happen with the music. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna be honest with that one. I love her voice, you know, she seems talented, but I'm just gonna be real. It's probably not gonna happen. Okay. I think that was pretty much all of the updates. I know Candy ended up having a little meetup with Sonia at the beginning of the second episode about what Courtney had said about her to Sheree and Sonia, but I think Candy was kind of pissed at Sonia because it seems as though Sonia didn't really have her back in that conversation, because I think at one point Courtney had kind of insinuated that Candy had posted a restaurant or something like that on her Instagram or social media. The next couple days after that, it was just a bunch of, you know, ratchet ghetto folk that came to the restaurant, and it basically obviously made it seem like Courtney was kind of calling Candy ghetto and ratchet a little bit. But I have to agree with Sonia. She didn't actually say that Candy was ghetto. She didn't actually say that. But Candy, you know, she came right out with it, was like, well, you didn't really come to my defense. But the thing is, I kind of agree with Sonia. It's like she didn't actually say that. She insinuated it, and that's how you could take it, but that's not what she said. You know what I mean? So yeah, but I'm trying to figure out what's gonna happen in these next couple of episodes, but so far it just seems a little forced in some areas. Like the whole beef with Courtney and Candy, it just seems like Courtney needs a storyline and a reason to be in the show, and that's it. You know, like that's her storyline there, is that beef with Candy, because they don't really talk about anything else when it comes to Courtney. So it's just kind of like a And then Juanita, she's obviously like a friend of some of the ladies already, so she's not too new. But yeah, I mean, I don't know where this is gonna go. It seems entertaining so far, but I don't know. I miss Nene. I miss so many individuals that I think would make this show so fun. But yeah, so far it seems okay, but like I said, it could just be really forced manufactured drama. But y'all let me know your thoughts down in the comments on these 2 episodes so far. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.